Hi, everybody. It's Sally Wagner, and welcome to High Frequency Mindset Podcast. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome our guest, Shavonda Griffin. Shavonda, welcome.
Hi, Sally, and thank you for having me on today.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy you're here, and I'm going to introduce you to our audience.
Okay.
As president of Active Concerned Team Inc., that's A.C.T. now, Shavonda worked to instill the philosophy that there are no limits for someone who tries their best and gives their all, to look beyond what is perceived and to think outside the box. She has been active in the community for over 20 years, starting many community organizations such as Youth of Empowerment back in 2003 and Active Concerned Citizens Inc. in 2007, and receiving praise, honor, and awards for her numerous efforts, winning a Hometown Hero Award from the Henry Lawrence Foundation in February 2010, a Humanitarian Award presented at the Unsung Hero Awards ceremony hosted by Wayne Washington, held May 2010, and Unsung Heroine Award from the Manatee County Branch NAACP in 2012. In 2012, she started her own cleaning business to provide an uplifting outlet for individuals that needed a second chance at rebuilding their lives with greater respect and income. She taught individuals how to revive their credit and later became a realtor so that she could take them from renting to becoming homeowners. She also obtained her insurance license as a means to provide the full package that individuals need to develop a whole life plan with everything included. Shavonda is a devoted minister as the shepherd for God is Real Ministries in Palmetto, Florida. Her story is still being written, and she is on another chapter that is yet to unfold. Helping to make communities a better place for individuals to live in, her mission is to instill the philosophy: without God, there is nothing. With God, you are and can accomplish anything. Again, Shavonda, welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I definitely greatly appreciate the opportunity of being here to be able to share my story.
Absolutely. So there is so much that I know about you that is not included in that bio. And we will include the full bio in the show notes. So everybody make sure you check the show notes because you're going to want to know every single thing. So there's so many things to talk about. And I'd like to start with your work that you do in real estate. Okay. And especially in helping people, as you say, move from renting into home ownership, because that is such an important opportunity for people to build generational wealth.
Absolutely. The name of the company that I have ownership of at this time is called Project Ownership 101. And what we developed at Project Ownership 101 is a platform to allow people to understand how credit works. So working with them to rebuild their credit, restructure their credit in the best way so that moving forward, even after becoming a homeowner, they will still maintain a good credit score. So we give an overall educational structural background as to what they need to do during the time that we are working on their credit. We also inform them of things that are changing on their credit, why they're changing, so that they understand what makes your credit fluctuate. We teach them as individuals basically how to understand revolving credit. That's a main part of the credit pie that a lot of people don't understand how important it is, but it's an important factor in credit because you have to have revolving credit in order to really have a great credit score. So we teach people how to maintain that fluctuating credit so that they can get in the right position. Once they are in the best position to become a homeowner, we then connect our buyers up to a lender, a mortgage broker, and they then situate them with the best platform for us as realtors to connect with them and finding them the right type of house that will suit their needs. Now, in doing so, we're working with that person to become a homeowner. Once that person does become a homeowner, then we're teaching them how to budget and make sure that they're not exceeding their budget once they get in that home so that they can actually keep the home once they're there.
Right.
You know, yes, and that's an important factor because so many people get into a home and then they just start spending. They think, you know, it's time to go buy a new car, it's time to go buy this and that and the third. And so, you know, it gets them back in that situation to where now they're living above their means again. So we want to educate them so they understand how to stay within their means so that they're not living outside of their debt to income ratio.
Yeah.
You know, and then once we, you know, have them fully equipped in being homeowners, then we like to stay and build a rapport with our clients so that they and their children will understand the platform of how to obtain and maintain building generational wealth. So as an insurance agent, what we do is we teach them about investment policies and then policies that they can have to invest toward their future so that they would have money to retire from and not just looking at a Social Security income to base that retirement factor off of. Being a homeowner, most people don't realize that you want to have something to cover your home. God forbid if something ever happened to you. That's what that insurance policy definitely will cover, that mortgage plan, so that the heirs to that property would still have coverage of making sure the property is paid off. God forbid if something does happen, and then you still have income that you're surviving from.
Yes.
So
that's such an important point right there, right? Because you know, the whole idea of generational wealth is that you're going to pass it down to those future generations. And yet, if you don't provide for the mortgage to be paid off, then they're going to have to sell it just to pay the mortgage. And that's never a good situation, right? So that really does help them preserve the wealth for the family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also with the investment policies, what we're teaching them, which are IULs, Index Universal Life Policies, we're teaching individuals how to build a platform. So if you have a family, let's just say a mother and father of 3, and all 3 of those children, they have a IUL investment policy coverage over their life. And they started this platform when those children were young as 8 years old. By the time they are ready to graduate high school, at least they would have some funding there to help pay for college tuition. If they chose to become landowners, their parents can buy them a plot of land. So a lot of land to whereas they wouldn't have to worry about, you know, well, how am I going to get a home later on? Or, you know, if I have a piece of land that is paid off, they would already have that taken care of. And, you know, it's building toward their future. And also, you know, it's something, like I said, going back to, you know, Social Security or in retirement, if they decided that they did not want to take anything away from that, then they would have more money to retire with instead of looking just for Social Security and still having to work another job to make ends meet at that point in time. And that's what, you know, I think as individuals, we've not been taught a lot of prior to. And so it has a lot of people at this point in time in a financial crisis.
It does. You know? Yeah. And what you're talking about, it really is a life strategy for financial issues, right? And you're right. We're not taught that. And I've seen some proposals for educational programs. People were saying, let's teach kids in school about finances, because many times they're not taught in the family. You know, that's something we don't want to talk about. We don't want to talk about money, right? And yet it's so important to talk about it. And didn't you invent a board game that teaches people about finances?
I absolutely did. And I have more. Just sold another one today, to be exact. But yes, it is called the Melanin Sisters Financial Investment Board Game. And this board game teaches just what I just talked about, teaches individuals how to understand credit, how credit works, how revolving credit works. So understanding the credit cards and the importance of having a credit card. I know that certain people were taught you should never get a credit card and just always pay things with cash. And that was taught wrong, you know. So you have to have a credit card in order to build that revolving credit for your life. It also gives the breakdown of understanding how to write a check, how a check works, how your checking account works, how your saving account works. It teaches about investment. It teaches about how to become a property manager, you know, just as well as becoming a property owner. It also teaches individuals how to obtain their passport, what they want to do as far as travel in the world, how different currencies work across the world. Overall, a breakdown of actually tithing. That's a major part of financial literacy that people don't want to discuss or talk about, but that is a major factor in there that we have to include for people to understand how to maintain, because it's always a portion of not just obtaining, but being able to give back. And when you give back, you gain more. And so, yeah, and teaching our children that, and then teaching, individuals how to also develop different streams of income coming in. So, how to become entrepreneurs, starting their own businesses, how to develop a business plan in life. So this board game does teach a lot across the board, and it is to bring families back to the kitchen table where we've been taken away from, because if you look at life, it's a microwave world. So everything is moving fast paced.
Yeah.
Sit down and have those conversations about the important things that matter in life anymore. So this board game actually will do that. It will bring the family back to the kitchen table so everybody can sit down, have a discussion, because the design platform of how this board game is to work is to have you walking away still thinking outside of the box about what you need to do as your next step so that you can win and become that much greater in life.
I love what you said about, bringing the family to the kitchen table, because like every important thing in life, we're talking about values. There are so many values around money and finances, and who do you want your kids to learn that from? You want them to learn it from you, because and perhaps sometimes as parents we didn't learn it, and so it's a great opportunity for everybody to learn it together.
Yes. To learn it together, have that discussion, and then, like I said, walk away with a plan to start redeveloping how if you've not been doing it right, how to correct those things and make it right so you can do it that much better.
Exactly.
And I've gotten a lot of feedback that I will be including on the website in regards to different family members that have played the game. Now, it starts, for ages as young as 3 and older. And some families feel like, well, it may be a little bit advanced for my 3-year-old, but what they don't realize is that the 3-year-olds, the best way to learn is through currency and money. And so, because that's going to be something that sticks with them. From this game, what I've done is created a team of youth that have their own businesses. And these teens, they go out every last Saturday of the month, and they meet up at MLK Park here in Sarasota. And at that park, they're set up with their own business platform so that they are showing the community what they have to offer. And then the community does come back and support them with their business plan. So they're buying their goods or using their services. And this is what they do to earn their extra money for the month. And they're paying for their own IULs.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's
amazing. So when you were talking about all the different things that you can learn in this game, you mentioned property management. Are you talking about like becoming a property manager or managing your own property?
Managing your own property.
I love that. I love that.
Yes, obtaining property, managing your own property, even investing with, people that you trust or close friends, because it does have, a scenario in there where 2 friends come together and they invest in one property, and they're each making money from the property because they're renting the property out during the time that they're not living there, certain times of the year. So it has scenarios like that, because I really want people to think about things and think about the questions. So I don't really just give them a straight up answer with some of the questions that are in the game. I actually give them a scenario, and then they have to make the right choice or the choice they feel is best for them. And then you think about, wait a minute, did I really make the right choice, or should I have chosen that different way? So because we do that in life all the time.
Exactly. Well, and what intrigued me about the title of property manager is, I mean, really with our own residents, we need to think of ourselves in terms of being a property manager, right?
Absolutely.
Because we manage the property. We need to think about reserve accounts,
Right.
to save up for those things that are inevitably going to need to be replaced, like air conditioning,
Absolutely.
especially in Florida, right? The
Yes.
roof,
Yes.
the water heater, all kinds of things.
Right.
And we don't want to be surprised by those kinds of things. So that goes back to the financial literacy, the budgeting, and everything else you're talking about.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where can people find the game?
Actually, you can find the game on the website. It's melaninsistersinvestment.com. You can also contact me personally. And I have an office location where people come in and they can purchase the game, as well as other items that we do have in regards to the Melanin Sisters and the Billionaire Babies. So the office address is 1945 17th Street here in Sarasota, and that's Sarasota, Florida. And then the contact number whereas I can be reached would be 941-225-9778. You can also reach us at Project Ownership 101 at .com. I'm sorry, Project Ownership 101.com and melaninsistersinvestment.com. So either one of those websites, and both have links that will lead you to the other, so that they can obtain or purchase the game through the avenue of the website, and we can ship those games out anywhere in the world. So yeah, because my goal is to have this game all over the world. I've actually been reaching out to some of the local school boards so that we can try and get the games in as many schools as possible, as well as getting them in many homes as possible, and actually reaching out to a lot of the churches, because again, they can utilize this in their church facility, and it is a strategy for people to understand how to build a structural, because a lot of times when people are going to church is because they're broken. In most cases, they're broken because of financial hurt.
Right, exactly. What better way than to learn through a game?
Absolutely.
There's so many studies about gamification, and we do learn when we play, and we retain the information and the added bonuses that you're playing with your family.
Absolutely. And I love, the way the children think about the game, because all of the children from the church, they do have a game that's at God is Real Ministry. And, I had some parents that say, I don't know if my 3-year-old got it as well as my 16-year-old had it. And, these 3-year-olds will come back and they'll explain that game. And it's like the parents are blown away. And I'm like, well, if these kids know how to work a cell phone at the time they were born into the world, they know this game. So don't be surprised, just how much information they retain when they go in and they play the game. And they're always asking the question, I want to play the game again. I want to play the game again. Because they're learning so much, and even teaching them with the entrepreneurship program that I have with the youth that I work with, they've been utilizing the game to understand now the concept and the value of just how great money is to them, and to know the difference between a $1 bill, $5 bill, and a $20 bill, and the value of each. And I had a 3-year-old young lady, she sells cookies for her business right now. And at the last event, she says, Miss Shavonda, look at my box. I have so much money. Look at all my fives and my ones. So she's like, I want to make more money.
Yeah.
So, but it was cute.
I love it, because so many times in society and frankly in religion, we're taught about the evils of money, and money is bad, and if you want to make money, then you're not a good person, and the people who are rich are not good people, and all those kinds of things. And yet it's not the money itself, right? Money is good for the good it can do, and what a fabulous opportunity you're bringing to people.
Yes, to understand that money is not the root of all evil. It's the way that you look at money. So if you worship money, that is evil, because we should be worshiping God. But at the same time, also when we look at money, God says, be fruitful and multiply. Most people think that means having a bunch of babies. That's not what he's talking about.
No.
So if he's saying be fruitful and multiply, he definitely wants us to be in a better place, because if we are richly evolved in a different place, and we can help more of God's people be in a different place. And so we're all working together to uplift those, because God does not want us in poverty. He wants us in prosperity.
Yeah, absolutely. And what better way than to teach children? Because as children are taught when they are young, then they will follow that path when they are old.
They will. Yes,
And
they will.
you want to teach them when they're young and they're eager to learn.
Absolutely. And this is something that they will retain and they'll gain from for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
You know, and it's allowing them to understand how they must walk into building their own legacy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not living off the ancestors.
Exactly. And it, you know, the home ownership, as important a piece as it is, it's a piece. There's so much more that goes into it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you are a realtor, real estate agent in Florida. And so you work directly with buyers and sellers, and, you know, so you can help the people you're working with. What about people who are working maybe with a different real estate agent? Could they still come to you for help with the whole credit issue?
Absolutely. I work with different agencies, different realtors throughout the state of Florida. And they send people to me all the time. I work with different mortgage brokers, because even sometimes you have brokers that will contact you up and they have clients that they're working with, and they're like, Shavonda, there's just something that we need to get off, and, you know, how can you help us out with this? And even understanding more about student loans, because that's something that we help with as well. Sometimes people are in default, they don't know what to do and how to get out of that situation. We work directly with the student loan lenders, so that therefore we're able to help them get a better understanding. And, you know, there's certain things that you can actually do that will benefit you in regards to your student loan, so that you're not caught up in a detrimental situation, or you're just thinking this is the end of the road for me, I can't get out of this. There are ways that you can get out of it by working with the lender and not just avoiding the situation.
That is fabulous information, because so many people feel so burdened by those student loans, right? They get out of college, they get out of graduate school or whatever, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans. And they're thinking, how am I ever going to have a house? How am I ever going to do anything? Because I have to pay off these student loans.
Yes, but there are ways, and these lenders are definitely, especially since COVID hit, they're willing to work with, you know, almost anyone in regards to where you are with your student loan. And there's a lot of programs that they have developed right now that's of a great assistance with individuals, just depending upon what situation you're in, what your circumstances are, and actually, you know, what line of work you're in, because they have programs right now where they will miss a large portion of the student loan.
Absolutely. So that certainly is worth looking into with somebody like you who knows all of these things, because most people don't know that.
Right. Yes. And, you know, the credit world is a forever changing, you know, situation to where you always have something going on. There's always things changing in the way that they are looking at the credit scores, which credit scores are going to be, you know, the most better for you at this point in time with where the rates are. And so because it's forever changing, I stay on top of the different things that are happening inside of the credit world, and, you know, as far as when the scores are going to be changing with the lenders. And that's why I try to keep that good rapport with the different lenders that I do work with. So, you know, sometimes they may get news before we do on the front end. And if they do, then they'll let me know, you know, what they have going on and, you know, what changes are coming our way. So it's always good to stay informed as to what's going on with your credit. And I tell people, you know, pay attention. You know, look at your credit score at least once a month, so you stay informed, you stay involved, and, you know, be responsible, and definitely take accountability for the way that you're choosing to live your life.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. And because it changes so much, that's why it's important to work with an expert such as yourself, because most of us wouldn't even know where to begin to look for the information that you have readily available, right? Right.
Yes, ma'am. That is so correct. Yes. Yeah. And that's why I always lend out a helping hand to different realtors, different companies. You know, I'm very open because we're a team. regardless to whether or not, it's my client or somebody else's client, we want to do the best thing that we can for the more people that we can help. And, even if it's not my client at this point in time, you just never know in exchange what can happen for the better purpose of you gaining something more on the back end. So that's how I look at it. I don't try to just keep it to myself just because it's all for my clients that I'm working with. So, and I do have a lot of different clients that, we referred over to different lending companies. So again, just working hand in hand with each other is how I look to do, my business because it's a big world out there. You can't do it all, can't have them all.
Exactly. And again, that's why we rely on experts like you to keep us up to date on all of this stuff.
Absolutely.
So I have a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
First question, and here's the setup.
Okay.
So in my coaching, I use an acronym MSG, and that stands for mindset, skill set, get off your assets. Because, I think it includes all of that, right? We can have a positive mindset. We may need some new skills.
Yes.
But we have to put it into action to make things happen.
Yes.
So as you look at your life and the fabulous work that you do with people,
thank you.
What overarching principle would you identify that contributes to your success?
All of it, just what you just said. Because again, it starts with the changing of the mind. That is the most important thing and imperative when you're looking at people. And that's why I said with this board game, it allows people to think outside of the box, because most people are boxed in, where you live, what you do, how you do it, where you go. So thinking outside of the box and changing your mindset so that you're able to receive, and when you're working with people on different levels, people from different places, from different atmospheres, you have to be open to be able to receive. And to take criticism. I think that that's an important thing too, to take criticism as constructive criticism, because we're all trying to get better so we can all do things to get to the next level of where I feel God is taking us. Also, like you said, not just talking about it, but actually being about it. And I try to keep myself evolving in an atmosphere where I'm surrounded by people that are always doing something on a positive level. I feel like I have to be productive every day. So I have to do something every day, and I can't just sleep, if that makes sense to you. And so I don't want to be around individuals that are just sleeping, because I don't want to be pulled back. I don't want to be held down. I want to be moving productively so that I know that what I'm doing in life means something and it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I love it. Moving every day in the right direction.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So last question, tell us again, how can we get in touch with you? And everybody, it's all going to be in the show notes. So if you don't have a chance to write it down, don't worry, but make sure you check the show notes. So go.
Okay, it is melaninsistersinvestment.com. You can also reach me at projectownership101.com. And my contact number is 941-225-9778. You can also reach us at our project ownership number, which is 866-477-5577. That again is 866-477-5577 or 941-225-9778.
Fabulous. So again, everybody, make sure you check the show notes. You are absolutely going to want to get more information from Shavonda. We all know somebody, and maybe it's us, who can benefit from all of these fabulous things you do. I have people in mind right now. I will send that game too. So, and I might get one for myself, honestly.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. You have a great day.
Thanks, you too. And thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure you join us next time for High Frequency Mindset Podcast.